Okay, so let's now look at doing a section 1 practice. And as I've told you, when you're doing section number 1, it's the easiest section of the 4 parts you have to do for IELTS listening. And when you're doing it, here we have all fill the blank questions. I mean, you can look at it here and see we have numbers 1 through 10, which is all fill the blank. And as I've told you, when you're doing listening, each section has 10 questions, and the test gets progressively more difficult. And what they're going to do for sections 1, 2, and 3 is, like here, they're going to say, first you have time to look at questions 1 through 4, or 1 through 5, 1 through 6, whatever they say. And you're going to have those 20 seconds, 25, 30 seconds to be able to look at the questions. When you're looking at the questions, there are 2 things you should be trying to do. Number 1, you should be trying to predict what might the answer be. What type of answer might it be? Okay, because that's going to help you with knowing what to listen for. It's going to help you with knowing what to listen for. The second thing that's really important is when you're dealing with your fill the blank questions is to try to recognize what is the synonym language I have to listen for. Pay attention to the words that are coming before and after the blank line, because when you do that, that's going to help you with knowing, what answers do I need to listen for, what type of language do I need to listen for when I'm going through it and doing it. All right, so let's go through this first one, and I'm going to help you with being able to recognize the tricks when they say them, the traps when they say them, and to be able to know how to avoid those things, so that you can be able to recognize when the correct answer is being said. All right. Now, this is from IELTS book number 9. This is test number 1, section 1. As I've told you before in all of our teaching, I think that the Cambridge IELTS books are the best books for you to get. I think that you should use those books because they give you the best practice, the most authentic practice to the test. So if you have taken my recommendation and you have gotten the IELTS books, numbers 7, 8, 9, 10, and also the 8 practice test book, if you've gotten those practice tests, then you can actually work along with us in terms of doing it. Okay, if you need to, you can always pause the tape and then try to do this section yourself, and then listen to our explanation of it if you want to. But that's how you can do it. You should be doing that because you want to treat this like this is your class, right? This is your class, and for a class you need books. So you can go to your local, you can go to maybe a bookstore depending on where you live, and find a book to buy, or you can get the book from online. And so okay, let's go ahead and go through this, and then we will analyze it together. Okay.
Cambridge IELTS 9 by University of Cambridge ESOL Examinations, published by Cambridge University Press. This recording is copyright. CD 1. Test 1. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Section 1. You will hear a man phoning to inquire about a job vacancy. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4.
Okay, so there you have it. You see, they've told us that we have time to look at questions 1 to 4, right? We have time to look at questions 1 through 4. So when you look at number 1, right, you have to look and say, okay, well, we know number 1 is going to be a type of job, type of work. It says type of work. Accountant, dentist, lawyer. kind of know what kind of answer am I listening for. All right, next you want to look at question number 1 and think about synonyms. Like when they're speaking, they may not say the word work. They may not say the word type. What are other kinds of words they might say? You have to listen for that. Because if you hear the synonyms, then you know that's when the answer is being said. The answer would have been said right before the synonym language or right after the synonym language. Like they might say, a lawyer is the kind of job that I like to do. Right? There we have the word lawyer before the word kind or kind of job. Or they could say, the kind of job that I would like to do is as a lawyer. Right? So it's possible for the answer to come before the keyword language or for the answer to come after the keyword language. So that's really important to understand in terms of answer choices. It doesn't have to come in the exact same order that you see it on the page. All right? So you have to listen for the possible reordering of the language of the question and also listen out for synonym language so that you're able to tell and know when the answer is being said. When are they telling me the answer? When are they saying the answer to me? Okay? So that's really important that you recognize that. Then they're going to say it's going to go in order, right? When you're doing IELTS listening, they go right in order. So they're not going to jump from number 1 and jump down to number 2. They're going to give you number 1. Then they're going to talk about the number of hours per week, 12 hours. They're going to say 12 hours. Then they're going to say you would need a work permit. Then they're going to go to number 2. And it says work in. So we're talking about a location, right? Because it says work in. This is what I mean by prediction. When you have your time, you should be going through predicting, and knowing what your answer is going to connect to. We know they're going to give us a type of branch, right? A type of branch. So we know number 2 has to be a name. And we know with names that they're going to most of the time, 90% of the time, they're going to spell the name unless it's some really easy, simple name. Number 3 is connected to next to. It says nearest bus stop is next to, right? So we know our answer is going to connect to the language next to. They most likely are not going to say next to. They're going to use synonym language probably. Number 4 is going to be a number because it says an hour and we have the pound sign there. The British pound sign, the United States will use the dollar sign. This is their version of it. And we know this is going to be a number. As I've told you in regards to traps, that with numbers, they're going to say more than one number. Okay? They're going to say more than one number. They love to use, here's where they love to use the used to trap. Like it used to be $10, but now it's $12, right? So the answer will be 12. So yeah, it's important that you're able to recognize when these traps are being used on you so that you can avoid them and be able to go through it. Okay, so I'm going to now keep playing the tape, and you should listen carefully, and you can try to answer along with me, and then I'll go through it with you. Right, so they're giving you this time to look at the answers. If you're working along with us, you might want to have your paper mark numbers 1 through 10. If you have the book, you could just mark the answer. Actually, still,
you will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first. Good evening, King's Restaurant.
Good evening. I'm ringing about the job I understand you have vacant.
Oh, yes. The job vacancy is at a restaurant. So, a restaurant has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4. Good evening, King's Restaurant.
Good evening. I'm ringing about the job I understand you have vacant.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to find out a few more details, if I may.
Yes, of course. Can I take your name?
It's Peter Chin.
Okay, Peter. Well, if you want to ask about the job, and then if we're both still interested, we could arrange for you to come for an interview.
Great, thanks. I'm afraid I missed the advert for the job, but heard about it from a friend.
That's no problem at all. What would you like to know?
Well, what sort of work is it? Washing up?
It's answering the phone.
Oh, right, fine.
And not waiting at table.
That'd be good. And how many nights a week would it be?
Well, we're really only busy at the weekend.
So, 2 nights?
3, actually, so it would work out at 12 hours a week.
That'd be fine. It wouldn't interfere with my studies.
Are you at the university?
Yes, first-year physics student.
Oh, right.
And because I'm not an EU national, would I need a work permit?
Yes, you would. Just get your tutor to sign it.
That wouldn't be a problem if I were to get the job. Where exactly is the restaurant?
Well, we have 2 branches. The one we're recruiting for is in Hillsdon Road.
I don't know that. How do you spell it, please?
It's HILLSDUNNE Road.
Got that. Thanks. Is it near a bus stop?
Yes, the nearest one would probably be just beside the library.
Oh, yes, I know it. That'd be fine for me. And could I ask about the pay?
We're offering £4.45 an hour.
That's very good. My last job was £3.95 an hour.
Okay, so there we have questions 1 through 4. All right, so now I'm going to go through the answer choices with you and point out for you the tricks and traps that they try to give you to try to make you think the answer was something else, but also to help you recognize when the right answer is being said. And the better you get at recognizing these things that I'm going over with you, the better you're going to do at the overall exam in terms of your ability to get that high band score that you want. Okay, so here are our answer choices. All right, so number 1, correct answer is right, answering the phone. Right, that's our correct answer. Look at our directions. It says no more than 3 words in terms of our directions. No more than 3 words and or a number. So if I'm writing answering the phone, that's okay. I can do that. All right, now, in terms of number 1, the way they tried to trick you was, the first thing that they did was they used synonym language, right? The man said, what sort of work? Right? What sort of work? So here we had an example of them using synonym language, right? The word sort is a synonym for the word type, okay? So if you know that the word sort is a synonym for the word type, when he said what sort of work, you know you're about to be able to listen for the answer. But right after this, after they use synonym language, then they try to trick you by giving more than one possible answer choice. So after the man said what sort of work, the next thing that was said was he immediately said, is it washing up? Right? So a lot of times what they'll do is somebody who asks a question will then try to give you a possible answer. And the woman said, no, it's not. Right? She said no. So you have to listen out for that. A lot of times you'll hear something that might be a possible answer and somebody will say, no, it's not. Right? Then they gave the answer. She said it's answering the phone. And then after she gave the answer, she threw out something else to try to trick you. She said it's not waiting tables. All right, it's not waiting tables. So they tried to trick you by throwing out washing up as a job. She said, no, it's not. She says not waiting tables. She said it's answering the phone. So all of this is going on. A lot of people don't understand. All these kind of tricks and traps, this is what's going on in section 1. This is what they're trying to do to you. They're trying to trick you. They're trying to trap you. All right. And then with number 2, this was the one where they have a spelling, right? We knew they were going to give us a name because they said working in. It was going to be a name or a place. Working in Virginia, working in a certain, here we have working in a branch. Right now, with when it comes to spelling, this is a British test, so they love to use double this, double that. So like, double 5, double 6, double N, double L. But here they spelled it for us: Hills Done Road. Right, that was our answer choice for number 2. Hills Done Road. But when you were listening, they gave you number 1, answering the phone. Then they said the information for 12 hours. Then they said about needing a work permit. Then they got to number 2. So number 3, we're listening for an answer connected to language that means the same as next to. Remember, your answers are going to connect to synonym language. Right? So for number 3, our correct answer was library. Keep in mind and remember, if you spell the answer wrong, it is wrong. If one letter is wrong, the answer is wrong. Your answer choices must be perfect. Okay, your answer choices must be perfect when you're doing them. Must be perfect. Okay, and now with library, what they tried to do was they tried to trick us by saying they use synonym language. They said beside the, right, which is synonym for next to. Right, so when you heard beside the, that's the same as saying next to, beside the library, next to the library. Right, so again, connecting an answer to the synonym language for what comes right before the blank line. And then for number 4, our correct answer was 445. Okay, and again, they tried to trick us by throwing out an extra number. The man said his last job was $3.95. Right, so again, they like to use last, used to throw out another number, but that's not correct. That can't be the possible answer choice. All right, so we're going to stop our tape right here, and then the next lecture we're going to go over the next set of questions, numbers 6 through 10, so you can really get an idea for how these traps and tricks work, even in section number 1. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.